Right, guys, welcome. In the KDS spirit, we are starting the meeting at punctually 21 set, just as announced. And basically, we're having a quick meeting about Throne of Liberty. Some of you are interested in the game, and I'm going to go a little bit through the background of the game. I'll touch some of the basics, and as you well know, you will hopefully welcome my no bullshit approach. We have General Morland and General Olson here as well, so obviously this is sort of part of the High Command discussion where which game KDS is kind of looking forward to. As you know, our last chapter was New World. We closed it back in June, and there's still some activity, but at the moment, it's very unlikely we'll return to the game unless something dramatically changes. So naturally, we are looking for our next chapters. Most of you are knowing, and if you don't know, a lot of us have been looking for potential games for the next chapter for KDS, and there are some games on the horizon, like Ashes of Creation, but the horizon is very wide and deep, and basically for those kind of games to release, people are looking at 2 to 3 years for them to be release ready. So in the meantime, we're looking for anything else with potential. So Throne of Liberty is probably one game that ticks some of the boxes, but there's some negatives that come with it, and I'll cover them both, but I'll do it briefly. Okay, this is not supposed to be an exhaustive sort of review and such, and after that we'll see where we go from there in terms of what we're planning. So for the ones of you who don't know, it's a game released by NCSoft. It's been running in Korea for quite some time, and it's been quite popular. There's lots of streamers still, quite a vibrant and busy community, and on the 17th of September it's aiming to release globally. So from tomorrow onwards for 5 days there's an open beta test which we're planning to join as a guild. So the positives of the games, it's an MMO, it's large scale PvP, there's open world PvP, but it is sort of event based from what I could see. There's guild versus guild, which looks like 50 versus 50, and there's large castle sieges. Some of the people and streamers, they were talking about hundreds and hundreds of people versus hundreds and hundreds. I think the maximum they've ever tried was like 2,000 versus 2,000. So there's some obscene numbers of people smashing each other in large-scale PvP. And as you know, that's KDS's forte, and that's really what we love in MMOs. And that's really those are the kind of games we're looking for. There are some negatives, though, which have been widely publicized about this game, and the community has been quite vocal about it. So the first and the most obvious one, and hopefully you had a chance to have a look at the quick video I posted in the TNL announcements, is basically it's been accused to be a game that's pay to win. So basically, there's two currencies in the game. You have gold, and you have another currency, starts with L, Lunaris or something like that. And basically, people can use that currency to buy items in the game on the shop, and on top of it, cosmetics and some pets that don't do much. And that was the main issue. The second issue is the game mechanic, and lots of people have been saying that the game itself feels a bit clunky, especially people who got used to play New Worlds and other games which are a bit more polished. But regardless of that, there's still lots of people who are having fun and enjoy the game. So despite all these drawbacks, I think people can surpass them. So for the global release in September, there's potentially some changes because the game is being publicized by AGS. So at the moment, what they announced is basically that you're still gonna have this currency, and it still might be considered pay to win. To me, it looks more like pay to progress. But basically, there's two battle passes. Well, there's one battle pass and one leveling pass. They can both be purchased with this second currency, with the Lunari currency, and that currency you buy with money. So basically, you're paying for battle pass like you would pay in New World if you want to go for the fancy one, but you can probably play the game without it. It's just you're not going to be as competitive, especially in the early stages of the game. Okay. The second thing that they announced is that for the release, there's probably going to be an early access. There's going to be, I don't know, different packages, I think, whenever you join. The only thing with that is, well, first of all, it's extra money. Second, you're going to join a specific server. So you join early access servers. Whereas if you join on the release day, you're just going to be on a release day server type. Okay. So as a guild, we'll probably need to decide what's the best thing for us. Right, so before I go into open beta and what we're trying to achieve with it, the floor is open to questions, guys. If you have any specific questions about what I brought up, just raise your hand and I'll give you the floor, unless you're one of the officers, and then you can just speak. If you don't know how to raise the hand, I think it's somewhere at the top right. You might not have any questions, and if you don't, I'll just carry on. Ooh, so there's some chats. Okay. Lucent. Okay. Corporal Iniquic said Lucent. There we go. Not good with these kind of names, but basically, yeah, it's another currency. Hollower, I was late. I'm sorry, did I miss something? Well, I just talked about the positives and the negatives of the game, mainly the fact that it's large scale open world PvP, but it seems to be on different types of scale, and it's usually event based. And I spoke about the negatives, which is the pay to win and aspect, which will be reduced by AGS to supposedly be a little bit more palatable, and the mechanics and clunkiness of the game. Let's start again. Someone is in the lobby. Sheen. Okay, let me see if I can drag him. Okay, so we'll need to look into this, why some of the members had issues joining this channel. Right, Gormick. So pay to win, you can buy armor with Lucent, but you can't buy best gear in game. Yeah, so it's like that. To me, it feels like, just reading everything and listening to all these streamers and whatnot, it feels like pay to progression rather than pay to win. So in the early stages of the game, obviously you're gonna win just because you buy your stuff before everybody else. So if you're hardcoring it, you know, I think it's pay to win. But the more the game progresses in time, the less impactful it will be, from what I can see. Buy the trades, yeah. So my understanding is that there's going to be basically another market for the Lucent specifically, and you can generate Lucent by using that market as well, but you can't farm Lucent. There's no mobs or dungeons or anything you can do to farm it. Right, guys. Any other questions? You can raise your hand, and I'll give you permission. You can speak. It's no problem. Because I know lots of people have lots of questions. Yeah. Right, guys. So yeah, Hollow, a bit like Lost Ark. I mean, the gameplay itself, I think most of the people compare it to Arcade, for the ones who have played Arcade. I haven't played it myself, but I know lots of people enjoyed it. For certain elements, that it had some negatives. Right, so open beta. So for the ones who don't know, you can download the game now. The release of, or the opening of the open beta is tomorrow, and the time is 7 set p.m. So from 7 set p.m. Sort of 2 hours before the time of this guild meeting, that's when the server should go live. Okay, there's certain elements we're going to look at. Obviously we can't test everything, but I think the main things for us to test and understand whether this is going to be a game that's worthwhile a chapter, where KDS is putting a lot of effort into keeping it active, having officers, lots of work, lots of recruitment, growth, lots of politics and diplomacy. We need to basically be happy between the balance of the positives and the negatives. Okay, so naturally, in my mind, the thing to do is have a look at the negatives. So we might not be able to tell the pay to win element just because of the length of the beta, open beta, but what we can look at is at the mechanics and how the game feels like, and whether there's any big issues that basically make the game trash and it doesn't feel like it's worth playing. I don't think it will be the case, just because there's so many people playing it, but that's not necessarily a rule. And having a perfectly fluent game, it doesn't mean it's going to be a successful game. See New World. So I think that's the number one element. Okay, we will try to do all the things that have been announced to be in this open beta. I think there's going to be some dungeons and some mini bosses, and I think there's an opportunity for a larger scale PvP from what I've seen that they announced. But obviously, I'm not sure whether there's a minimum level requirement or what are exactly the requirements. But as a guild, I think we're going to focus on the mechanics. We're going to try to do the main PvE events, and we'll try our best to have some representation at whatever PvP event there is, just to get a feeling about what's involved. You need to be aware that there's lots of people who are very experienced, who have been playing on the Korean server for God knows how long, so it might be a situation where we kind of get clapped really hard, but I think these are the things we're going to test. Okay, so after the test, once the test is finished, it lasts for 5 days, so on the 23rd it closes. Then we're basically going to look at everything and decide whether it's worthwhile playing it as a chapter, or whether we just might play it casually. The truth of the matter is that there's nothing really serious coming that's release ready for the next 2-3 years. So if it's not for this, we're still going to play some smaller games like survival games and things like that, but it's not going to feel like a community type game where we can play in large scale and there's lots of things organized and so on. So at the moment, I think we'll see what Throne and Liberty does, and basically we'll use the information we gather on the open beta to decide whether we're going to play it, and then make the decision, if we do play it and open a chapter, how we're going to start it. As you know, for each start of a chapter there's lots of organizing. There's officers need to organize what's the most optimal way to level, who needs help with what, teams specifically designed to help boost people, and so on. So there'll be a lot of organizing to do, but in terms of the open beta, these are things we're going to focus on. Any questions, guys? Please raise your hand. There's quite a lot of typing, so let's have a look. So we're talking about daggers, event schedule, dynamic events every 3 hours, during dynamic events, specific areas, yeah. So Inequix wrote kindly a little summary of the type of events. So that, as I said, there's going to be some PvE events, some PvP or guild events. It's not going to be any sieges, okay, if people do wonder about that. So the big hundreds and hundreds of people kind of fights, if you've seen any of the videos, they said it's not going to be in the open beta, but smaller guild versus guild. fights and smaller fights will be available. So we'll try to attend at least one of those. Arch bosses starting on July 20th. Yeah, exactly. So Inequix summarized, and he said no castle sieges or tax delivery events. Yep. Right. Do you guys want me to go a little bit through classes and things like that, or do you think we don't need to do that? Is everybody happy? Did people have a quick look, or you just want to see how it goes? Okay, so Maki said yes. Okay, right. So so there's different classes. Okay, it's not your typical the meta from what streamers and people doing wars have been talking about. The meta is not really something I would expect. Like, to give an example, the tank is obviously sword and shield, but the best secondary weapon as a tank is a wand, which is a life staff. so the strongest tank, from what I could see, is a sword and shield with a healing staff. But generally speaking, you still have your melees, you still have your range, which can be physical as a bow or a mage range. And you have your healers. Okay, in terms of the combinations, the combinations are more or less set. You have your tanks, which generally speaking are sword and shield and great sword, or sword and shield and the wand, and then you have your engagers and disengagers, and these are usually people with daggers because they can go stealth. And they can pair that with different types of weapons. So some people do it with great swords. Some people use the crossbows. So the crossbows are basically 2 crossbows, and it's a medium range, highest DPS in the game kind of weapon. And then you have your range people, and these can run bow. Bow secondary weapon can be wand again, or some people run it with dagger just because they can disengage a bit better. And then you have your mages next to those guys. Okay. In terms of the skills, I'm not going to go through every single skill, guys. I mean, this is the point of doing the open beta, but as a general rule of thumb, you have normal attacks, you have heavy attacks, and you have critical type attacks and critical type builds. So some of the classes, from what I could see, they're more critical based, like I think crossbow and dagger. Some are more heavy attack based, like the greatsword, and some are a bit of like just normal stuff, like mages and builds like that. Right, so let's see what the people want to say. So this is a quick summary about what the builds are like. SS Dagger Wand, all the jokes. Okay, no hammer, no also. No, okay. It took 3 years. Okay, so Inequix, yeah, he kindly posted. So Canon is one of the streamers I've been looking at as well. So his videos are very informative, but there's 4 or 5 streamers that post like hundreds of videos. Okay, so you know, at your leisure, just have a quick look. In terms of what builds there are in the game and what kind of progression we are expecting between level 1 and level 50, because most likely that's going to be the main bulk of the open beta. Blind Reaper, wand can be healing, but its highest AoE DPS. Yes, so they have the wands. Blind is right. So the wand has some curse dots that's you can basically put on people over time, and then you can basically one-shot them when you release all those dots. So it's DPS as well. Inequix said broken. Yeah, so yeah, it's broken. Lots of people have been complaining, and some people are playing crossbow wand. Bomb says you only need 1 arm for a wand. Do they have crafting skills? I don't know, Maron. To be honest, I didn't look into the crafting and logistics. As you know, it's not my main sort of strength. But if anybody did, please feel free to speak up or to type. It seems like it's a typing night. Nobody wants to speak. How much PvE needs to happen before you can PvP? I guess level 50 is the maximum, Muti, and after level 50 you can probably go ahead and PvP. It doesn't seem like it's a very long way to get there. And I guess you can do it earlier, but you're probably not as strong, so there might be a big difference. Also, when you're leveling, you have grey gear, and you have to upgrade this gear until you move over to green gear. So yeah, so there's lots of upgrades. I think you upgrade skills, you upgrade gear, you upgrade weapons. Okay, Pomp is asking pay to win. So I touched upon it in the beginning. It's so people describe it as a more palatable pay to win. To me it looks like pay to progress, or pay for easy progression, and it seems to be a lot more relevant in the beginning of the game. But basically you have this second currency, Pomp, which is I don't know, Iniquix knows the name. I call it Lunaris. It's something with an L, and you pay that with real money, but then use that to buy your battle passes and your leveling passes and whatnot, and some specific gear and items to upgrade your gear. Alright, so there's lots of typing. People are a little bit okay. Snoy, you want to speak? The floor is yours, sir.
Alright, hey everyone. Just wanna ask about when we can actually get into PvP. Is it like, are we gonna like focus mainly on leveling, or like if you try to get into PvP, it gives you max level or something like that? I don't know. I'm not sure how that goes.
So you mean for the open beta? What's our aim? Is
Yeah.
that what you're asking? So basically, the number one focus will be to understand the mechanic and whether it's so clunky as lots of people complain, and then the second objective is to get in at least one PvP event. Okay, as a guild.
Alright, so
it's only
we do
5
have to.
days, so it's not going to be very
Yeah,
long.
so we do have to focus on leveling first. Is that it?
Yeah, for sure.
Alright.
Because I don't think you can go level 2 at some PvP where everybody turns up with level 50. I mean, you can, but
Yeah. I mean, no, but like some games, when you try to get into PvP, it levels you to max level first. Some games also give you gear to fight with, but that's why I wasn't really sure how that works. So yeah.
yeah,
Thanks.
I haven't really heard of that. If you go PvP, it maxes you.
All right.
Right.
Because in Dungeonborn, well, that doesn't matter. Forget it. All right. Thanks.
All right, I'll move you back. Any other questions, guys? I love the chatting, so the typing. So keep carrying on with that, guys. But if you have any questions you want to ask, you could just raise your hand as well. So we're probably going to give it another 7 minutes or so, guys, before we wrap it up. I wanted to keep this pretty short, this meeting. Also said it's going to be main tank. Oh yeah, dungeons, guys. Just because I can see people are typing a lot about dungeons. My understanding, other people please correct me if I'm wrong, that the optimal way to basically play the dungeons is in 6-man. So you need that's where you get the maximum reward. So you need to optimize your groups and optimize your DPS for 6-man groups. Don't ask me the details why 6 and why not 7. I guess lots of people play it for a long time. They made the calculations and such. Right, Muti, you had your hand up. I don't know if you still wanted to ask. If not, okay. Muti, the floor is yours.
Hi everybody. I just wanted to say that I actually can't play the beta because I'm away and it's only like 5 days or whatever, but I wanted to make a request for the guys who are testing builds. Can somebody please find me the most annoying build to play? I would be very appreciative.
Define annoying, Muti.
Annoying to the enemy. So things like silence. Like, I don't need to kill people. Other people can do the killing, but if I can silence them or troll them in any way with bashes or stuns, I love doing that kind of stuff. So
yeah, there's a build like that.
Build.
Yeah, I can tell you straight away. There's a silence build with lots of knockdowns. So yeah,
perfect.
So there's definitely one, but obviously, guys, if you see anything else that fits Muti's description, please feel free to post it. I move back to audience. So if you see something or you want to post something, guys, at the moment we have one text channel, just because it's the TL info chat. So feel free to just post in there. We're gonna keep it very basic and very simple, just because it's a 5-day test. So I don't want to create lots and lots of channels like some other games have in the Discord. Corporal Gothica, the floor is yours.
Hey, you said there are items to upgrade weapons in cash shop.
Yeah.
So if the upgrade of the weapons is like arcades, then the game is 100% pay to win. There's no question asked about it.
Yeah. So pretty much yes. Basically, I went in the beginning. I don't know if you saw, and I posted the video in the announcements. It seems to be less pay to win, but it's still. I think it's mostly considered pay to win, guys. So, you know, we're not going to beat about the bush or try to bullshit you guys. Right, I'll move back to audience. Any other questions, guys? Bring Mandem to ends and get dagger shanked. Maybe beta, only pay to win. Farm sell items for Lucent and then you use Lucent to upgrade gear, if I understand correctly. Yes, Maron. My understanding is that it's a special shop for the Lucent, so it only works. It's basically like a second currency or a second shop. It's almost like maybe when Diablo had it, but they use real currency. They didn't even try to use a secondary in-game currency. So the more you use it gets used by the community, the better it gets. The changing art of pay to win in Korea making better. Yes, it is getting better. But you know, Gothica is right. It seems to be a lot better, but it's technically still pay to win, at least in the early stages of the game. Inequix, you can earn Lucent in game, yes, but not by farming it. So you basically earn it by selling stuff on that specific market. So you can't just go and kill stuff and Lucent drops. Yeah, and castles. Yeah. Yeah, it's less pay to win Inequix for sure, right? But yeah. At least in the beginning of the game, it's going to be a bigger discrepancy. Can't get Osun to farm. I don't think Osun is good at farming anyway. For 2 more minutes, guys. So I'm just reading through a text, unless somebody wants to speak up and ask a question. Auction house is the premium currency, like in Lost Ark. You can transfer trades to gear, base gear is dropped, and then you can spend money to optimize the gear. Yeah, exactly. Changing something with Battle Pass. Yes, so the Battle Pass you can only buy with Lucent in the global release Gomic, but you can't. It's not with real cash anymore. So in the Korean version, you buy your Battle Pass with real money. Whereas in this version you buy with Lucent. So the argument is that even if you have a little bit of Lucent and you start to generate Lucent somehow by yourself, by just playing the market or something like that, you can basically just get the same access to the Battle Pass. And same for the Leveling Pass, so there's 2 passes. So yeah, definitely less pay to win. Ask me anything about the lore, I'll be able to tell you everything. Okay, so if you have any lore regarding questions, go to General Olson. Buffer boys and girls. Sell items earning guild events, yes. Yeah, Inequix posted a video. Inequix is posted in the info chat channel as well, the starter guide. Please ping us the server details. Yes, so we're definitely gonna. I'm not sure if everybody will be just clumped in one server, or actually whether it's gonna be multiple servers. But please keep an eye out. We're gonna choose one server, obviously, and ping it in the channel. Yeah, Muty, the floor is yours.
Hi, again. Sorry, I didn't ask to be tagged in this because, as I said, I can't play the beta, so I don't know if you actually have. Yeah, it's me again, Osen. um, so I don't shut up, Iniquix. So I don't know whether or not you've got like space for this already in the Discord. But what I was going to say is, when you've done the beta testing, will you do like a summary meeting, or are you just going to do that in like chat?
Yeah, absolutely. So the meeting from today is recorded for the guys who couldn't attend, and then we have another meeting like this just at the end of the open beta. We haven't really created any specific tags for the game, just because, you know, we need to test it first and see whether it's worth it or not. And that's why at the moment the setup is kind of very basic. I don't want to create a lot of work for the officers with tags and things like that.
Okay, great. Thank you. And okay, yeah, Annie, I will write that up for you. It will be a presentation, and it will take 3 hours to watch.
There you go. So there's some already good planning there. Right, guys. So I think we're going to wrap it up, unless... Oh, Hitek has a burning question. It's the last question, guys, because I'm mindful of everybody's time and I want to keep it short. Hitek, the floor is yours. So.
Hi. I was just wondering, do we know anything about how progression is, like grind wise? Is it a big grind? How long does it take to get the max level? Is that where the real grind begins?
To be honest, I haven't looked much into that, but what I can tell you is I haven't seen anybody complain there's a big grind, or they're struggling with the grind, or they're struggling to get level 50. I expect that at least a bunch of us will get to level 50 even in the open beta, but maybe somebody played the Korean version can correct me if I'm wrong. Grind is the gear, yeah. So that's basically my understanding as well, as Gormrick says. So the grind is the gear itself, is not the level. So it's the materials that people struggle to get. Oliston says beta's accelerated. Yeah, there you go. So I think for the beta, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Maybe they're going to slow it down for the release. But yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Why is pay to win? So Cappy joined late. He probably joined after we discussed everything. So there's two currencies to summarize, Cappy. It's the main sort of criticism the game has, as well as clunkiness. And basically the second currency you buy with real money. The first currency is in-game gold. And the second currency you can use to buy items for upgrades. And you can use to buy your battle passes. But you can generate that currency by using the shop. There you can trade things with that currency. So basically need an initial investment, and then it seems like you can sort of make it better. But by the sounds of it, it's just going to make a difference in the beginning of the game, and it's not going to be as big of an issue. And a lot of the elements from the Korean thing, they've been scrapped to make it less pay to win. Cappy, don't be late. It's pay to win. Good. Is there a bow? Yes, there is a bow. It seems to be not as good from what people said, but I think people play with life staff equivalent with a wand and with a dagger, and it seems to be pretty decent. I think some people talked about crossbow, but it's a bit counterintuitive. But yeah, crossbow is good. It's the range that's an issue. But anyway, we'll leave this for another time for discussion, guys. So to summarize, guys, we discussed briefly the details of the game in terms of what the game is like, what's to be expected, the fact that we're gonna play the open beta as a community, and basically test the two main elements, which are the mechanics of the game to see how clunky it is, and try to do at least one of the PvP events. And following that, we're gonna have another meeting to summarize everything and make the decision whether we're gonna move to a full chapter when the game fully releases on the 17th of September. And I think that's it from my side, unless General Molan or General Olson wants to say anything as a closure. We're pretty much done here, guys. Please use the chat channel if you want to continue the discussion. But otherwise, I'm looking forward to see you guys all tomorrow. So let's have a good KDS presence. Olson says no, thank you. Okay, great. All good, you covered everything. Thank you. Okay. It's been a pleasure, guys. Feel free to hop up in the chat. Otherwise, we're pretty much finished here. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming. See you soon.